Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up an Evergreen Newsletter sequence in your Kit account. I'm going to start by going to Send Sequences and then click on New Sequence, and I'm going to choose a template. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to set up the website upgrade series template. This is one of the templates that I have in my account, but you can either create a new template or you can just send text-only emails. And I'm going to begin building out my sequence. Now, I'm not going to build out the entire sequence in this tutorial. I'm just going to create a couple of emails just to show you. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start by copying a subject line from my Google Doc, and I'm just going to paste that in. And then I'm going to paste the contents of the email. Now, this is already pre-styled, so I'm just going to replace this text with the text of the email. And I'm going to add one thing at the beginning. Hey, I'm just going to add a little bit of personalization and then paste the contents of the email. And I'm going to change my call to action and add the URL for it. You would add the URL to whatever it is that you want to point in your email if you have a specific call to action, or you can delete this element entirely. And then I'm just going to delete this little bit of text because we don't need that. And I'm going to fix the spacing here like that. That looks good. And I'm going to now select publish. And I'm going to set the first email to send immediately. So I'm going to set this to 0. And I want this first email to go out on a specific day. So let's say every Wednesday, I want this email to go out. And then I'm going to go back to the emails and I'm going to add another email. So I'm going to go to the email number 2 and copy the subject line as I did before. And I'm just going to paste it here and add the personalization and make sure that the URL is the same. Of course, you can personalize this to whatever you want. If you want to point to different parts of your business or different services or different products, you can. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And again, I'm going to click publish, and then I'm going to set this to after. I'm going to leave this only to set to one day, but I'm going to select Wednesday again because I want them to receive this every week, so only on Wednesday. And by doing this, what's going to happen is that Kit is going to wait until it's Wednesday, and then it's going to send the next email in the sequence. So we can add one more email, and again, I'm going to add the text. And again, I'm going to click publish once that email is ready, and I'm going to make sure that it sends after one day, but only on Wednesday. Okay, so we have, let's say that this is our evergreen sequence. I'm not going to obviously make you watch me add 50 emails to this sequence. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to settings, and then you are going to configure the schedule. So we want this to send every Wednesday. If you want it to send on multiple days, for example, maybe you wanted to send on Monday and Wednesday, you could check both of these days. I like to send mine on Wednesdays. And then you're going to select the time when you want that sequence to go out. So I'm going to say 4 p.m. It doesn't matter because it's the same time zone, but 4 p.m. Madrid time. And if you want to exclude specific tags or segments or sequences, you can do this here. I'm going to leave this as is because I want all of my subscribers to get these. But if you have somebody who is in a welcome sequence, you could do that here. And for example, if somebody is in a welcome sequence, then they won't be receiving your evergreen sequence, which just makes sense. And then over here on this tab where it says sequence behavior, you want to make sure that subscribers have the ability to restart the sequence multiple times. Basically, what this will do is once they cycle through all the emails, once they reach the end, they will just restart the sequence back at the beginning. And that way, you always have something to send them. And there's no pause, there's no silence, there's no period of time when they're not hearing from you. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because by the time, if you build this out right, usually an evergreen sequence is anywhere from 6 months to a year plus long. By the time they reach that first email, they're not going to remember the first email that they received. And it's always good to repeat your messages and have your customers hear them multiple times. So trust me, nobody's going to complain if they receive the same email a year from now, because in most cases they're probably not going to remember it. And then another important setting that you want to check is that subscribers who are added via visual automations should stay in this sequence. Now, this basically allows you that even if you, for example, only build out 3 months for your Evergreen newsletter, and then you get busy with the launch, client projects, or what have you, you don't have time to create a new email. So essentially, if they reach the end, they will basically exit the sequence, and there will be a point where they won't receive emails from you. And when you add a new email to the sequence, people who have gone through the sequence won't receive it. This, by setting this to yes, you're basically telling Kit to, hey, keep these people in this sequence because I want to add emails in the future. And when I do, I want them to be able to receive those emails. So if they stay in the sequence, they will receive emails as you add them. So even if there's been like a month where you haven't added new emails, they will still receive those new ones once that passes and once you add them to the sequence. So now we're going to click on Update Sequence. And then we have to set up the automation that actually starts this sequence. So we're going to go to Visual Automations. So I'm going to click New Automation, Start from Scratch. And I'm going to name this to Evergreen Newsletter Automation, and I'm going to click Start Building. And now there are several ways that you can start the automation. I prefer setting up mine with the tag, so I'm going to create a tag called, I actually have a tag called Start Evergreen Newsletter Automation, so I'm just going to use that tag. And I'm going to, for action, I'm going to select email sequence, and I'm going to choose the sequence that we just created, and I'm going to click Add Action. And that is essentially it. So whenever somebody is assigned this tag, they will be added to the sequence, and they will receive the emails that I've set up. And if they reach the end, they will be re-added to the beginning, and they will stay in the sequence. That way, when I add new emails, if I haven't added all of them, they will receive them as I keep on adding them. And then the last thing you want to do is make sure that this is set to active, and click Activate. And then whenever you add people to this tag, they will start receiving the sequence. And I typically like to do this after they have gone through the welcome sequence. So you can set up a welcome sequence that at the end removes them from the welcome sequence and adds the tag Start Evergreen Newsletter Automation, and that way they're immediately added to it and they're hearing from you after they have signed up for your email list. So I hope that this was helpful and that it makes sense. And if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to my channel and drop me a like on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one.